Hi guys, my name is Mayana and today I'm going to be talking about popular book talk books that are actually worth the hype. I will say fair warning, I don't actually use book talk that much, so I really just googled popular book talk books and then I just picked the ones that I read. I am on like romance book talk, but I read every genre and for some reason I'm only stuck in like the romance TikTok. But also I don't use TikTok that much. I hope this is accurate, but these are all like the hype books that I've read that I think are like worthy of the hype. The first book I'm going to talk about is my all-time favorite series, and that is the Cruel Prince, the Folk of the Air trilogy. As you can see, I have like 3 different editions, and if I don't have it, I thought it was ugly, or else I would have more. I sprayed these edges myself, by the way. So yes, I have these covers are so beautiful, so beautiful. But yeah, the Folk of the Air trilogy, if you don't know what this is about, this is about this girl named Jude. Her and her twin sister were her twin sister and their older sister, they have an older sister, they were all kidnapped and taken to the world of fairy, where she lives there as a human, and everyone like hates her, and everyone's like really mean to her, especially Prince Carden, who is cruel because it's called the Cruel Prince. And it's enemies to lovers excellence, it's like knife to the throat excellence. I was reading these books as they came out and it was the best thing ever. Like the nostalgia I have, I still remember when I read the Cruel Prince for the first time and I got to something that happens in the end and like me literally gasping. Like I have a video of me like gasping. No, I have a video of me freaking out because I was listening to it on 2x speed and there was like so much going on and I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was just like so amazing. Jude is me. I love Carden. Not really a tail girl. Comment down below if you are team Carden's tail or team no to Carden's tail. The next book I have is Mistborn. So this series takes place, I hope this is hyped, I literally have never seen this on TikTok, but also it's Brandon Sanderson, so why wouldn't it be? But this is Mistborn. This takes place, obviously it's a fantasy book, and this is like what happens when the villain wins. You have to like read all of the books to really like understand like how the like magic system in this world works. Not that it's confusing, but just more that is revealed as it goes through. And I really enjoyed this book. It's really fun. It's an adult fantasy. It's actually a really good book to read if you want to transition from YA fantasy to adult fantasy, because it's really easy to understand, and like I said, it's fun. It has one of my favorite characters in here, Kelser. I love him. And I will say though, if you are a romance girly, do not go into this book thinking it's going to be good romance. Brandon Sanderson, he's not the best for romance. Like, it's not like there's no romance. Like, he tries, but it's not gonna be like when you read a fantasy romance book and you're like, oh my gosh, this was amazing. Like, his romances aren't terrible, it's just like they aren't like show-stopping. Next book I have is another one of my all-time favorite, and that have to be the Poppy War. The Poppy War takes place in a fictional Asia. It is based off of real events but fantasy elements added to it. If you are a fan of history, you will like it. If you like school settings, like if you like magical schools, though this isn't a magical school, it still has the same feeling of a magical school. So if you like magical schools, I definitely would say check out this book because it's amazing. And it follows Ren. Look at my tabs. It follows Ren, who is poor. She doesn't really have any family, but she's really good at what she does and she wants to get into a specific school. And it follows her being in a school and like people kind of bullying her because, you know, she's poor and she's also dark skinned and Asian. And I really love that representation about how people treat people who are darker skinned. R.F. Kuang is literally a genius and I'm obsessed with her, and this book is great. The next book I have is from Blended Ash. Yes, I had to show y'all my special edition because this is beautiful, so I had to pull off the special edition. Now, is this book good? No, but it is a fun time. Like if you've read any adult fantasy before reading this book, you're gonna be like, wow, this is literal ass. This could have been taken, this could have been 300 pages less. The romance is kind of alarming, but it's good, and the smut is good, and actually I like the romance. This book is about Poppy, who is a maiden, and maidens are sent to be like not seen, and she is set to ascend, which is, I believe that's when you like turn into a vampire, I think. And it has like vampires and werewolves and like all types of mystical creatures. If you are a fan of Sarah J Maas, you will like this. JLA quite literally is a thief. She doesn't have an original idea in her brain. Pretty much all of her books are stolen ideas from other popular series, or stolen like plot lines, or stolen like romance ways. Like the love interest is really like a carbon copy of Reese, and like the second book felt like a ripoff of Twilight, but it's fun nonetheless. Like I still liked it. I just have a lot of criticisms towards it because the third book in the series, like the books does not need to be this long. It's very clear to me that Jennifer Armentrout just wanted like a Sarah J Maas-esque book, but what she missed with Sarah J Maas is that Sarah J Maas knows how to write a plot. She knows how to write in-depth characters. She really knows how to write things like grief and stuff like that, whereas JLA was just trying to copy her. And like she usually writes like pages that are like 300, like books that are 300 pages. So having this book that's like 600 pages when it didn't need to be was like such a drag. And like the third book, like literally everything that happens in the third book is like repeats of like the things that happened in the first and second book. Like the same joke repeats, some of the same plot lines, and it's like it's very clear she's trying to draw this out so she can get like a Sarah J Maas-esque series. I mean, I'm still enjoying it nonetheless. It's just I'm warning you before you go into it. But a lot of people, like, I'm a very critical reader, so I feel like if you're not critical, like, you can go into this and have a really fun time, to be honest. The next book I have is another all-time favorite. Did I put my all-time favorites on this list mostly? Yes. Also, if you want to check out my all-time favorites, I do have a video from like 2019. If you want me to update it, I can try. Like I said, I'm a very critical reader, so I honestly don't even think I have any new all-time favorites since that video. So there's that. But anyway, so the next book is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Look at these tabs. Absolutely beautiful. So, Ninth House. This is dark academia excellence. This is adult. This is college setting. This is Yale. So, this is about Galaxy / Alex Stern, who can see grays, which are essentially ghosts, and she goes to Yale, and she is a part of this secret society where she kind of like protects her college from this. And then we have Darlington, who is my Virgo king. You cannot convince me that Darlington is not a Virgo, and it follows that. I really love this story. I really love how Leigh Bardugo wrote this story, how it has like a lot of flashbacks, and you see like Alex and Darlington's like friendship, and then it's like present day, and you have all these other characters, and I love this book. Oh, I forgot there was a map. Whoa. There's a map in here of like Yale, and Darlington has his own like tab. He has blue. Whenever like there's a male character that I'm obsessed with, they always get the blue tab, and I just love this book. Okay, so I'm kind of gonna go into books that I don't own physically, just so I can like get those over with before I forget. So a book I have is It Ends With Us. I just read this recently. This more so is a contemporary novel than it is like a romance. I know a lot of people read it and I like the romance, but it's about this girl who grew up in an abusive household, and she is dating this guy, and they like fall in love and they get married, and then she soon realizes that he is also abusive, and she's kind of going through the same things that her mom went through. But there's also a character named Atlas who everyone loves, and they were childhood like lovers, and he was like homeless, and it was just like a really sweet love story. A lot of people don't like the book because they say that it doesn't deal with abuse well, but I actually disagree. I also grew up like in an abusive household, so to me it seemed very like realistic and accurate, and like I don't know, I personally enjoyed it. I think it was worth the hype, and I don't say that about too many Colleen Hoover books at all. This is literally the only book by her I've ever liked, so maybe she should stop writing romance. This book I have is the Maddest Obsession. This is a second book, but it is just so good. The first book is like The Sweetest Oblivion, and it's like the Made Men series or something like that. It's a mafia romance. When I tell you, this book is so good. So the Maddest Obsession, well obviously, okay, this series is about like the mafia, blah blah blah. But the Maddest Obsession is about these characters, the side characters from the first book. This guy who's like a dirty cop and this girl who's like married out to this really old guy. She's also really older, so like, you know, like in the mafia books, like the younger you are, the married off you get, like the older you are, the more no one like kind of wants you. These books are just, they really tone in on the misogyny, but not in the way like the author is, or the authors are misogynistic, but it's like you get like a peek of like how misogynistic the world is. And like, I don't know why I'm saying a peek, like these authors really be living the mafia life for real. I mean, I don't know, actually they could, but yeah. And so they had like a thing going on, and he has this rule where he only, you know, has sex with a girl 3 times, and then he kind of just like done with her. And they had like a little thing, and he goes away for some years and he comes back, and like she's like married, and like it picks up off of that. It's so good. He is literally so obsessed he had to go to therapy for her. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Next book I have is Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. This book is actually insane. When I first read it, I actually gave it 1 star because I was like, what the fuck did I read? And then I went back and changed it like 5 months later because the book was still on my mind. I was like, this actually was a masterpiece. So this follows, they call themselves like the 4 horsemen. I don't know what it is with like dark romances where there's like a friend group. They always refer to themselves as like the 4 horsemen. Like, can y'all find anything else? But anyways, so yeah, they call themselves like the 4 horsemen, and on Halloween they do this, on Devil's Night, the night before Halloween, they do this thing where they like pray pranks. Also, I want to ask, do any of you guys actually have Devil's Night? Because we have it in Michigan. It's like actually a thing. They actually changed it a few years ago to Angel's Night because the pranks were like so terrible. They're like, let's boost like good happiness, whatever. Anyways, so it was like, it was crazy for me reading this because I didn't know that other states actually had like Devil's Night, so it was really fun like reading about that. But yeah, they like play pranks on people and stuff like that. Then there's Erica, who is one of the 4 horsemen. Michael, his brother, is dating Erica, and she kind of has a thing for him, and they go to jail and they think that she like ratted them out. So a few years later they get out of jail and they are after her. It's like a dark, it's not like suspenseful, but it kind of is, because you're trying to figure out like, did she really snitch on them? Like, what did she snitch for? Like, what went down? And like, it's also like a game of cat and mouse at the same time. And it was just like a freaking ride. If you want something absolutely insane and entertaining and just crazy, I would definitely suggest checking this out. The next book is The Inheritance Games. I do own this book, but I have a lot of books everywhere. I actually don't know where it is, but I did not read the sequel. I like the first book for what it is. I read it as a standalone personally. The author made it into a trilogy, and I just don't see a reason why thrillers should be trilogies. I really don't like YA thrillers as it is, so if I read the second book, I'm just not gonna like it. It's not really a thriller though, it's a mystery, sorry. I don't like YA thrillers or mystery as it is, so the fact that I like this one was a blessing of its own. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and like, I really don't care what happens. Like, I did like the romance. I love triangles, and I ate that up, but I just can't ruin my image of this first book, so I'm just not gonna move on. I hate that authors, like, whenever they get a good thing, instead of coming up with something else that's good, they're like, I'm gonna turn this into a series and read this until no more water can come out of it. I don't know what that analogy was, but anyways, let me tell you what the book is about. So it is basically Knives Out. It's about this teenage girl who is really poor. She's struggling. She's living with her sister and her sister's asshole boyfriend, and one day somebody comes to tell her, they're like, you just inherited a bunch of money from this guy. She's like, I don't know who the fuck this man is, but whatever. So she goes to the family. The family's like, we know you did something. What did you do? Like, how did you get his money? Like, we don't fucking know you. He don't fucking know you. Like, who are you, girl? And she's like, I don't know, but, and then her life just like changes, and it was like so fun. And like I said, I love the love triangle, and there was like a little plot twist at the end, which I didn't see coming, so I like that, because I don't really like to think too much when I read like mysteries, because I'm gonna figure it out if I think. So I read it like work. It was just so fun, and it kind of sucks because like I do want to read the other books, but I know I'm gonna hate them because I just think I don't like YA mystery. I don't like when people turn things into unnecessary series, so it's like the odds are just not there. Okay, the next book I own, but my bookshelf fell apart and I'm too lazy and I don't have enough room to like maneuver and get me like to replace it and get a new one. So I'm just using a stack of books to like hold up the bookshelf, and it's a part of the stack of books. So this book is The Night Circus. I actually just recently read this book last year. I've been on BookTube for 5 years now. Yes, I have my 5th year anniversary in April. Anyways, so I've been on BookTube for 5 years now, and this book has been popular since I joined BookTube, and I never had any interest in reading it, and then finally I read it and I loved it. And I think I read it at the perfect time, because I think if I would have read it as a teen, I would have been like, wow, this book is boring, like the lame that I was, but whatever. So this book is about this circus that kind of comes around like once in a while. Like it comes and it disappears, and it's like a cute little love story between these two characters and them like finding each other in the circus, and like it's just so like poetic and like beautiful. If you love romance, it's beautiful. It is more like lyrically written, like there isn't really a plot or anything like that. I described this book very badly, but that's because there's no plot, so it's not my fault. But if it sounds, if you even if you just like the cover, I would suggest picking it up because it's very like beautiful as a book. Crescent City. So Crescent City I read, and like I liked the book. I didn't love it, and then I read Crescent City too. This is not the title of the book. Everybody who reads this book, we always call it Crescent City. It's House of Earth and Blood, and then the next book is House of Sky and Breath, but I call them Crescent City 1 and Crescent City 2 because I don't have time to be saying those long ass titles. So basically this book is something happens. I suggest not reading the description because there's a huge, it's not like a spoiler, but I just feel like it will hit more and it'll hurt more if you don't read the description. So something happens where she has to team up with this angel who is a police officer to find out this mystery, and you're in this world, and it's like urban fantasy, so they have like cell phones and social media and things like that, but they're all, and there's humans, but there's also like fairies and werewolves, and it's like the ultimate like urban fantasy ever. This is what Jennifer Armentrout wanted to be. Like, to me it's just fun just because they have all these different like mythical creatures, and they're all like friends or enemies, and it's just, I just eat that up. Like, I just love the fact that like there's just so many mythical creatures in this book and in this world, and it's not just like vampires or whatever, like it's everything. Okay, so the next book I have, I've never seen it on BookTok, but it was on a list and I own it and I liked it. So even if like you're like, girl, what is this book, I've never seen it before, you should read it because it is a ride. That is Paper Princess by Aaron Watts, which is Elle Kennedy under a pen name writing with someone else. This book was a freaking masterpiece. If you want drama, if you want like reality TV-esque, you want entertainment, this book is all of the and above. Like, it is just so entertaining. So it's about this girl who's a stripper, and this guy comes up and he's like, I know your dad, and the sons immediately hate her and they're all mean to her, but she also like kind of sparks up a romance with like one of the brothers, and there's just so much drama, so much tea, so much entertaining. Like, this literally feels like watching like a reality TV show in a book. Also, if you like Kiss the Sky, this is that times 10. Like, I remember reading the end of this book and gasping, and then reading the second book and like gasping. I haven't continued on with the series yet. Next book I have is, where did this tear on the cover come from? People Meet Me on Vacation. This one is, I feel like this one is hyped. I feel like Beach Read is hyped, but this one is hyped more because Beach Read is more like chick lit, and so is Book Lovers. They're marketed as romance, but those are chick lit, and this one is actually romance. If you don't know what People Meet on Vacation is about, do you live under a freaking rock? If you haven't read this, what is wrong? Like, why have you not read this? Unless you just don't like romances, that is like completely understandable. But People Meet Me on Vacation, this is about two friends who go on vacation together every single year, and they just stop going on vacation. So the main character, Poppy, gets Alex, her best friend, to go on one last vacation, and then like romance ends up ensuing from there. They're like, you see my freaking cat? They're like, if anyone watches Miraculous Ladybug, you know how in the show like the two characters are so obviously in love with each other, but like they can't see that the other person is in love with them. That's literally this book. I like to call it the two idiots in love trope. It is my favorite trope ever, and that's definitely what this book is giving. Also, someone please tell me you watch Miraculous Ladybug and it's not just me. And then I have Kiss the Sky by Christina Lauren. Okay, so I read this book like what, 2 years ago, and I didn't read this book. I read the Addicted to You series 2 years ago. I actually had these covers under the original covers, but I unhauled them. Thank God, because I actually don't really like them. I'm obsessed with these covers. The Addicted to You series is about this girl who's addicted to sex, and then her friend is addicted to alcohol, and they like get together to like, they're like really rich, so they get together to like distract people, and they're like fake dating. So then you meet like her sisters in this book, and Addicted to You. And so in this book, Kiss the Sky, we're following like the sisters. Okay, so I hate the addicted books. Like, I don't care for Lily and Lo at all. Like, I don't hate them. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I don't really like the books because they're just like, I don't know, like reading romance books after the characters have already got together is so boring to me. Like, honestly, like if I read a romance book and the characters are already together, I kind of check out, because sometimes the authors don't know how to keep that banter up, and like the things that you love before they start dating, they don't know how to write that still while they're dating. I think that's why I hate the trope a lot. And so, not that that was the same thing, but I just thought that the couple was like really boring, and then they got together and I was just like, I don't care. And so this book is about Rose and Connor, and I'm obsessed with them. When I was reading the series, I didn't want to read this book because it was really annoying that like in this book they're already together. Like, you don't follow like their story of them getting together and then like whatever. Like, they're already together. But I thought this book was entertaining. I forgot what I was saying because my camera overheated. But basically, in this book, they end up getting this reality TV show because of some events that took place. And I thought it was even really fun, even though like my least favorite things was like couples being together. But the authors are actually really good at keeping the characters like entertaining while like they're still dating. Like, Rose and Connor never left that spark that like kept me in love. And if you love Gossip Girl and you like loved Dan and Blair together, that brief time they were together, this is the book for you, because they definitely give Dan and Blair. So for like the 5 of us that are out there in this world, just read it just because of that. Like, it was just such a beautiful book. They really did their thing. And then the last book I have is Zodiac Academy. Honestly, this book is just basically just pure fun. It's about these twin sisters who are really poor and they're struggling, and one day this guy comes up and he's like, y'all are actually lost princesses. And then they go to this school and everyone hates them because this is a bully romance. But to me it makes sense, because usually in bully romances, like, they be bullying the girls for like no reason. But in this one it makes sense, because imagine you are like the king of the school, the kings of the school, the kings of these worlds, by the way, and these 2 bitches come out of nowhere. You've been working your entire life for this, and they come out of nowhere. And the girls never implied that they wanted the throne, but I mean, what else would they want? Why else would they come back? Like, it makes sense to me, because like one of my favorite bully romances, they like bullied this girl because she was the smartest in the school, and like they thought that she was taking like a spot in their school, even though she got there by scholarship, so she clearly deserved to be there. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense to be bullying anyone. But this one makes sense, and it's also in the like, it takes place in like the Fae realm, and like the Faes aren't fairies. That's like their like species is Fae, and then you can be like a vampire, you can be a werewolf, you can be like literally anything, which I also really like that, because it kind of reminds me of Crescent City. Like, I really love when like paranormal, like they have like all these like paranormal things into one book. Like, it's not just like vampires or just werewolves or whatever. Like, it's literally everything, and it's so much fun. I like it for the astrology aspect. I am an astrologer, so I eat up the astrology, like, you know, like it's my favorite dinner. But this book is fun. Like, I don't take these like Kindle romances like too seriously, and sometimes like I read a lot of like fantasy and a lot of traditionally published romance. Not saying this isn't traditionally published, but I don't think it is. So then it's really fun to go and read like my Kindle Unlimited romances, because it's just a break from like the seriousness, or they do things in like these books that they wouldn't do in like traditionally published books, and I just think they're so fun. There isn't really any romance in this book or the second one really, I am on the third one. I haven't really started it yet though, but if you want to hear more of my thoughts, I do have a vlog that's coming out sometime in the summer. So yes, that is it for this video. I hope that you got some recommendations from this. I hope that you got some good books that you want to read. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.